What is up? Come I on? Oh, I'm a little early. A little early today. All right. There we go. I'm a little early. Let me check my shit. I'm a little loud too, but that's okay. What's up, Noah? Noah, I got you. I got your videos of the female tribal and the female Faluku tribal and the female Faluku. I just didn't send them yet. I did get them today. Uh, Also, I got to send you a Zell thing. We'll take care of that other thing this week. Uh, Once again, completely unprepared. Completely unprepared. My rabbit lady was showing up, and then Mason was hitting me up, and then I was on the phone. I was on the phone with Sean, then Spencer, then uh, talking to Mason, then the rabbit lady. Then I remembered I'm supposed to be doing this. So yeah, no. Once again, completely unprepared. I wanted to have a snake on today. I actually wanted to show she's in a shed, and that's one of the reasons I don't have my shit together because the snake I actually wanted to show was in a shed. I wanted to show a 75% platy uh, ternate that I selectively bred for color. And it's related to the Faluku stuff because that was a breeding for color as well. And I wanted people to see just how much, these things are coloring up. I'm also able to pick. Hey, send me a text. Send me a text if you can, and so I remember, and I will send that. If you're able to pick up that Jagged Tinley, I will send that with Andrew. That's perfect. That makes my day. Andrew's gonna be so pissed off when he gets here to pick stuff up, and it's just gonna be all this shit he has to take. So he'll be excited. He'll love it. Um, but no, I'll send that. I'll send that out with Andrew. Just remind me that saved me the time to ship it too. So that'll be fantastic. Um, yeah. So I got a marble going, a jag going, a double het snow. We're sending some Kalatoas out. What the hell else? Sending some Kalatoas out. I think there might be some Falukus there. Um, yeah, and just whatever. Send me a message anywhere, and I'll make a note. Um, and if for some reason I fuck up and forget, I'll just ship it to you, which I shouldn't because that'll free up a cage for me. Um, I'm glad you said something because now I know not to feed her. uh, what the hell was I just saying? I don't know. So we're gonna have. I know there's gonna be some Kalatoas there, and I think we are going to have a pair of ternate het ocelots there as well. That will be incredibly overpriced. So, because we really don't want to sell them. So I think we're gonna. It's basically for people to see them and see how nice they look. So we're gonna send a pair of those out and some. Yeah, the ternate het ocelots, the Kalatoas, probably some Faluku, tribal Faluku stuff. What the hell else? I I don't the whatchamacallits, the Super Malukus just aren't ready yet. They haven't had enough mills. Unfortunately, I was hoping to have 3 mills in them by Tinley, and I don't. They didn't. They didn't want to eat the first round, so that's actually why I don't have three mills in them. So unfortunately, those won't be there. I will be. I'll probably make a video with them. I'll probably do a video so people can see them. There's not really that many left, to be honest. Um, and then what the hell else? Yeah, I don't know. I think that's about it. Not a whole lot. Oh, Andrew's gonna have some of those Mochino snows. I think he's gonna have some of those on his table if people want to check those out. What the hell else are we sending? I think that's about it. I think there's gonna be a Halma ternate. One of those males will be there, and Oh, we're gonna have one or two male granite back Superdorf granite backs. Those are Andrew's gonna have them too. He'll have some of those. So if you need a male Superdorf G back, let me know. I'll make sure we pick you out a nice one because we have a few, and yeah, send those out too. But yeah, so that'll be good. Send lots of that stuff out. You know, if Tinley was a month from now, I don't know why Tinley. I don't know why they have Tinley this early. They really should wait till April, because more people have their tax money back and more people have stuff hatched out. It just seems like it'd be better to wait till April, because I got the Turn 8 clutch. They're at day. We'll find out. You think I would know this because I check every fucking day. All right, all right, Austin, I gotcha. And let me see what else. Okay, let me look something up real quick. Let me see. Where's my calendar? Okay, so today is the 9th. So those things are where are we at? 13, 44, 64, 72. They're day 81. So the Turn 8 clutch is at day 81. Then the Mindanao clutch is at day 72, and I got to check the clutch after that. Um, yeah, I got to check the clutch after that and go from there. So then the Mindanao. I'm trying to think what's after the Mindanaos. It might be pure Halmas. It might go. No, I don't think. I think the Sun Tiger, the Indo Sun Tiger stuff might have came in between those. I'll have to look. When I head down, to next time I'm rooting around in my incubators, I'll usually I line things up, but I was moving stuff around because I have this little piece of shit incubator that I built out of random pieces of wood I found in my basement, and it's big enough to fit like one decent sized egg box in it. So I stuck the Turn 8's eggs in there, so I don't have to be opening and closing the main um, egg box or incubator and fucking with temps. So, hey, quick question: would it be helpful if I did a how to build an incubator video? Because it's getting nice, and my incubators are getting a little old. I was thinking about making new ones anyways. Would it be helpful if I actually made a how to build an incubator that isn't a giant piece of shit video? I think that's what I'll call it. Because I can show how to do one very quickly with a cooler, and I can also show how to build an incubator that's not going to dry your eggs out. That's going to be much more even in temperatures. And the key is uh, don't make them high. So I can make I could make a small incubator that holds roughly 80 to 120 eggs, and it would be, I mean, they'd be kind of a goofy size, but it'd be like 3 foot long, uh and then like 3 foot deep, and it'd only be like 16 inches high. And you could get in that, you could get like 40, 50 eggs. But if I was to make it say 2 feet high and do a double rack, you could get 100 eggs in there. um but I mean, you could get 100 eggs in there easy. So yeah, yeah. If you guys think, because I do need to build some incubators, so maybe when I build incubators, what I'll do is I'll set up my camera and just like go through it, like just everything I'm doing, like how I do it. I have horrible carpentry skills, so it's going to look like a giant piece of shit, but it's going to hold temperature. And I know everybody's having issues with all these. I see all these people spending like thousand fucking dollars or more on these incubators, and they're not as, dude. Cool. Nothing's better than a little fucking like not a necessary little igloo cooler, but like a big like beer cooler, like nothing's better than that. Like you're not gonna make a better incubator. It's just they're not real. You can't fit that many eggs in them. But I can show how to build an incubator that you can get an easy 60 eggs in. Um, if I make it a little higher, probably 120. And you could probably I'm thinking we can I think I can build that for, oh hell, I can probably build that for, I'm gonna say, less than $500, probably like $300, maybe like everything included, like $500. That'd be including heat tape and everything. So yeah, if you can get an incubator that's gonna hold 120 eggs for 100 for 500 or less, that's not going to have crazy fluctuations. It's not going to have a fucking fan in it. It's not going to dry out your eggs. It's not going to be all over. You're going to have some fluctuation, probably a degree or two, but you're not going to have these fucking 4 to 6 degree swings from one corner, the low corner, to the high other opposite corner. You're not going to have all that crazy shit. Like I mean, I know like the glass coolers and stuff, they're super convenient for incubators, but with how high they are, the heat builds up at the top, and then if you have a fan on, then it dries your shit out. Yeah, there's just, man, it's 2 foot high. I would not go over 2 feet high on an incubator. I really don't recommend going more than 2 feet high on an incubator at all. I just don't think it. I don't think it's worth it. So, and I also got these specific. I got these specific tubs, and they're almost perfect. I need to find ones that are just a hair longer, because they're like, I'm gonna say they're like 12 by something or something. I don't know, but I can fit 15. I can fit roughly 15 ternate eggs in them. So you can fit like an easy 20 Superdorf eggs in them, like no problem. But if they were just like 4 inches longer, they'd pretty much be perfect. You'd get around close to 20 ternate eggs in them at a clip, which not that many ternates even lay 20 eggs, but just for space size. So I'm going to find the perfect, I'm going to do the math on it. So I'm thinking 4 foot long incubators, 2 foot high, 3 foot deep. And you could have those stacked in your room like a stack of cages. And yeah, you have three of those. You wouldn't even, unless you're doing a massive amount of retics, because you're looking at an easy, uh, yeah, you're looking at an easy 100 eggs in each one, if not 120. So unless you're doing, 360 fucking retics that season, like three is more than you'd ever need. I mean, like two would pretty much be fine. And they would also, I also want to make them in a way they're sturdy enough that they can be kind of like a base for your cages. So, like you don't want to have your cages on the floor. So if you have like your little fucking shelf thingy and then on casters, and then you have an incubator down below, and then your cages are on top of it, I just have to make sure it's sturdy enough to be able to handle the weight. But that'd be perfect, because your incubators are like not in the way. They're basically acting as a stand for your other 4 foot cages. So yeah, I got some ideas. I got some ideas. I don't even know if I'd go 3 foot. I don't even know if I'd go 3 foot deep. You probably can get away with 2 foot. So, do a podcast on making the incubator. Yeah, I don't know if I'll do a podcast. I'll probably just do like a breakdown video on like how to make it. So hold on, I gotta check this. Uh, somebody's. What's this shit? What is this? I don't even know what this is. Huh. Oh, it's Brian Wilkins. Somebody was reposting some Brian Wilkins stuff. Um, but yeah, no, I thought that would be good, man, because like I've been seeing a lot of people bitching about uh, these expensive ass incubators. My buddy Sean, he has an expensive ass incubator, and he doesn't like it near as much as he just likes using his fucking beer coolers. So yeah, they're definitely the way to go. If you're not planning on hatching out a ton of retics, just go to like garage sales and buy beer coolers if anybody has them for sale. So, but yeah, so yeah, I'll put that on the list because I do need to build some incubators. I need to build a CB70 rack since nobody makes CB70 racks anymore. Um, so CB70 rack and beer cooler, or yeah, beer cooler, fucking incubator, and we'll be set. So just saw another clutch of Karampas. Yep, yep. I don't know how. I don't know how Karampas are considered the rarest or rarest locality there is when there's a new clutch of them getting dropped every other day. So if you go back to my prediction video back in December, I said this would happen. I switched to igloo coolers a few years ago and haven't lost an egg since. Yeah, dude, it's crazy. It's dude, they're nothing's gonna beat them. Absolutely nothing. So should make videos in the snake room. Would like to see the setup, less frequently seen animals you have. Well, the problem is this is I think I'm gonna split my room because my I have a one big snake room, but I think I'm making it into two, and I'm thinking about trying to do that. Once I get some shit rearranged, because I got to put some makeshift walls up, and I'm gonna go all hatchlings in one area, raise ups in another area, and then in one room strictly only for basically adult/adult females. Because I really wouldn't mind not having my. I'd really like to. I wouldn't even mind having the males in with the hatchling room too, to have them in a separate room, because my males kind of act up a little bit when they smell a female, and I'd rather have them not act up. So I've actually been thinking about splitting the room into two and keeping the males and the hatchling stuff on one side. What I need to do is get rid of some snakes, which that's on the list. Getting rid of some adults. No, and I also need to build the tricolor cages. So I got a whole bunch of shit I got to build this spring and summer. I use one of those coolers, aquarium heater, thermostat. Yeah, I mean, you can just you build a shelf, you throw a piece of heat tape in the bottom of the cooler, you build a half-ass shelf, and you throw your eggs on it, and then you close the lid and you're set. Like you can't beat it. Honestly, you can't beat it. So yeah, they're absolutely great. Uh, is it similar to the cooler setup ROR use I put input out a few years ago? Yeah, I'd be real careful doing what Garrett does with having that heater, that water heater situation, because there's a lot of things that can go wrong with that. I mean, you're much better off. You're really honestly much better off to just go with a piece of heat tape. It's just safer. It's just a little safer. So, and got to worry about that water splashing all over the place. No. Yeah, I should have. I'm not too far out from the Ternate Platy Sunfire clutch either. I want to say that's hatching. That's probably within 30 days. I'm gonna have to look on that. I bet you it's only about 30 days away. So I gotta order some new racks today. Or I meant to do it today. I haven't done it yet. So hopefully I'll order them after I jump off here, or I'll order them tomorrow. Because I'm in the process of replacing a bunch of stuff. So that's why I want to move the snake room around. So I'm gonna get those Reptile Basic racks that have the three different tub sizes. I'm not even gonna buy the smaller tubs. I'm just gonna go straight to the medium tubs and save myself the money, because shit will outgrow those tubs, and they're only like about 5 inches wide, and I'd have to get all new water dishes because my water dishes are 6 inches. So I was like, fuck this. I'm not buying all new water dishes for these tubs with these snakes. If I don't sell them in the first 2 months, they're going to outgrow anyways. So, but, oh, solos were locked up today. So that's good news. Good news if you want a gigantic snake that can kill you. So that's looking positive. Um, what else? I don't got. That's about it, man. I don't have a whole lot to talk about today. I really don't. We got to wait and see if the Philatoas. Those the Philatoas aren't here. The Philatoas are at my buddy's house. The Philatoas are at my buddy's house. The Aberrant Kalatoa project, that's at my buddy's house. What the hell else do we got down there? The Ternate Kalatoa GC Phantom possible Cal GCs are at my buddy's house. Some of the Philippine Superdorf Marble Het Anery stuff is at my buddy's house. Clutch of Double Het Snows. What the hell? I can't even remember what the hell else is down there. Oh, I think we have. I can't remember if he bred a Halma or a Superdorf. I'm pretty sure he bred an Anery Motley Platinum Tiger or something. I forget what the hell it was. To something. I can't remember if it was a R&B line Kalatoa or if it was a Halma. I'll have to ask because I don't remember. That clutch is also there. What the hell else? I know I'm missing another clutch and I don't know what it is. I cannot remember what the hell it is. But yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. But yeah, the Philatoas aren't too far out. The Philatoas got laid. I will tell you when they got laid. Give me 1 second. Give me a second here. I don't know why some pictures disappear. It's fucking irritating. I think one of my cats is fucking with my door. So, February 10th, the Superdorf, yeah, there's going to be some nice marbles. They're going to be Mindanao, Kalatoa, Jamp, something. I don't know. There's going to be a bunch of stuff in them. That was February 10th. Let me see if you can see. Hold on, let me see. This is the marble. Can you see that? Is it in focus? I think it's in focus. So yeah, that's the marble. And like, nobody's really even seen this marble since like I hatched it out. And if you can't tell, it looks better than most Aztecs. So I really like the pattern on this. So we're gonna try to. We used a very sharp pattern, Superdorf something. I don't forget what the hell the Superdorf was. Might have been an Anery or something, or Het Anery. So this is gonna have Mindanao. What the hell else? Mindanao, Kalatoa, Jamp, and yeah, I think those are the three. Mindanao, Kalatoa, and Jamp. I can't remember exactly what the percentages are because I know what the percentages on that marble is 50% Mindanao, 12.5 Jamp, 12.5 Kalatoa. I don't remember exactly what the things are, what the percentages are on the other snake that we use because the male's mine, the female wasn't. So let me see what else we got here. Let me see what else. Should be another clutch here. There should be another clutch. This is, yeah, the Phantom clutch. The Phantom clutch that was bred to the GC Ternate This girl's really pretty. This was January 10th. Um, so they're not like super far out. They're not super close either, but they're not super far out. Let me see what the hell else. See what the hell else we got here. Uh, oh, I think I'm going the wrong way. Yep, I'm going the wrong way. Hold on. Here's a really nice. Here's a really nice Mindanao that we're growing up. This is more of an aberrant back pattern with black inside. So this is a Mindanao project that we're working on here. No, hardly, I don't think anybody's really got to see this snake either, except maybe when I hatched it out a few years ago. Yeah, we're working on an aberrant pattern, black inside the back diamond Mindanao project. Let's see what the hell else we got going on here. Where are we at? There's that. I forget what clutch this is. Hold on. Here we go. Where the hell? I forget what clutch that is. I don't even remember. Okay. Let me get back in here. Yeah, so then the crazy, I'm trying to find the crazy pattern Kalatoa, which I know we showed that. Okay, there she is. That's the aberrant back pattern Kalatoa project we're working on. So that one's not very far. Well, it's okay. It's kind of it's that one's got a while. So that one's got a while. We got a while for that one. No, that's all I can think of right now for that. That's just what's at my buddy's house. And Andrew's got the two crazy turn 8 clutches. Uh, I don't know what's going to be available for those, to be honest, because it's going to be a lot of holdback stuff. We're combining we're combining some Apocalypto slash Fractalis type genetics with some other genetics for really thick black, like really thick. So we're gonna hope. I'm hoping we're gonna see a consistent 4 scale thickness in black, at least 3 to 4. Like as long as it's not really dropping down the 2, um, which we might grow like a thin red phase or a green phase, but we should get some crazy ass thickness of black going on. So that's what we're shooting for. So my back's being a dick. I don't know what I did to cause my sciatic nerve to be a fucking asshole, but I did something. So yeah, we actually got a lot of shit going on, man. Like between what I'm doing, what Sean and I think you're on a live stream. If you are, you to call me. This one. Yeah. Speaking of Sean, um, but yeah, I don't even remember what the fuck I was saying. Oh yeah, no, we got a lot of shit going on. I mean, it's like a heavy year for selective breeding. I don't think nothing that I'm doing is outside of the realm of selective breeding slash creating something new. Nothing that's Sean is doing is outside of the realm of selective breeding, and I don't know anything that Andrew's doing that's at least on the retic front that's You know, he might be doing like one clutch to sell or something. Um, but yeah, yeah. I mean, it's all heavy selective breeding. You know, it's all heavy selective breeding this year. Yeah, Sean, I was just showing off pictures. I was talking about what we got going on between my house and your house. So a lot going on. Greedy customers. Yeah. Uh-oh. What's going on? Did Spencer do a live today? He sent me a voice message saying he was going to go live, and then I ended up being super busy, and I didn't get to watch his live. I'll have to go back and watch it. I don't know if he actually did it or not. So, Sean, if you can type, did you breed that platy, motley, fucking anery? Like, am I imagining that? Did you breed that to something? I don't remember. I've completely forgot because I was trying to go through the clutches to see what was what. So he's probably driving and can't text. So no Brian Wokins tonight or J Clot's vagina. So that's kind of a slow start for the week. What can I say? Slow start. So I really wanted to have a snake on here tonight, but she was in shed. So I don't know. Maybe the rest of the week I'll have snakes on. Then yeah, you guys can ask Sean how well the igloo uh beer cooler whatchamacallit incubator works compared to the more pricey ones. Yeah, at the start of this, Sean was talking about maybe doing an incubator build, a how to make an incubator that doesn't fluctuate temperature like crazy. So, uh, I assume with snakes it's no different. Eh, yeah, yeah. Once you get to that like sub 300, once you get down in like that 100, like 250 selling retics, I mean, they're basically just like, I don't know, it's just somebody looking for a cool pet and they don't even know what they're buying. That's why I really try not to sell anything below $350. It seems like 350 is like the limit where people know what a retic is versus people see a pretty snake that happens to be a retic, so they buy it. Like an impulse buy, like instead of a uh, instead of a ball python, they impulse buy a reticulated python. Yeah. So an Anery platy tiger. For some reason, I was thinking it was Molly or something. Anery platy tiger to R&B line Kalatoa. Yep. So we got that clutch. Lots of shit going on. Lots of shit going on. Yeah, those will be high percentage. Those would be pretty decently high percentage animals there. So I don't know what topics you guys want to hit. We talk about how bad Garrett sucks, and we'll see what becomes of the Weston Challenge. And I saw a bunch of people that sell snakes through Garrett were on Retic Nation pleading his case unbiasedly, clearly. It's like you got Blake on there who sells his shit through Garrett, then you got fucking Metcalf on there who sells his shit through Garrett. You know, I was reading some of that, and I even saw what igloo coolers over everything. Yeah, uh, uh, and I'm like, you guys sell snakes through the dude, like. And then somebody sent me what Bob said, and like Bob's on there talking about opinions. Like, dude, this shit wasn't opinion. We're talking about the last 10 years of Garrett's behavior of telling people these ridiculous ass sizes without backing it up. And then even fucking Richard Bilbo's on there. It's like, you can't really say that. You can't really just, blah blah blah, because we don't really know. And it's like, exactly, dude, we don't know. So why are you giving these crazy ass low estimates on size when it's not possible to even know? So I don't know. I think there's a big push. I think there's a big push to get Garrett back on Retic Nation. And I think that is because, as I said, like that was a shift. There was a shift in retics of saying, fuck you, we're not putting up with nonsense anymore. So yeah, that's what it is. Just so the last of my morphs, so I'm down to Kaiwadi, and locality cross is freeing up space for Kaiwadis and other locales. Uh, Darren, we're still working on the Ternate, uh, Mindanao and Halmas for export. We're gonna try to get that happening. We gotta talk to Mark some more, and our dude over here in the U.S. is he's in the process of getting set up, and it's definitely a pay to play over here because he's doing some kind of like just generalized CITES, which allows him to ship anytime. And if you want your animals in, you have to buy into this. So, so all of us that got this stuff, we're all going to be buying in, and it's going to be a core group of people, and that's it. So, yeah, yeah, we need to do a. I got that group started on Facebook, um, and I haven't really been working on it too much because the we're kind of waiting to get. I don't want to get everybody all excited and be like, in 6 months we'll be able to ship. So as we get closer to being able to actually export, then I'll start pushing it more. If a group can't police itself, do you really want outside forces doing it? No, nope. And but the reptile industry in general can't police itself. It not only can it not police itself, it has no interest in doing it, and it just keeps fucking it up worse and worse, worse and worse. And then they complain when the government steps in, like in Florida. Like they want to pretend like, well, so those iguanas came over on ships. Okay, what about the veiled chameleons, the tokays, the berms, and like the Nile monitors, the Nile crocodiles, the savannah, or not savannas, the water monitor. It's like come on, like let's not pretend like the reptile industry isn't responsible for that shit. I got a question. So what happens to the value, both price wise and reliable information wise, that people have bought over the years from ROR? If he crashes out and it's all lost with them, now what? Um, I don't, I don't think anything. I don't think. Well, here's what's going to happen. What's going to happen is already what you're seeing happening. The Garrett's marketing creates a bubble because he markets everything on scarcity. And if you want to see what happens on a scarcity bubble, just watch Carampas this year, because they're supposed to be this super rare retic that nobody has, nobody produces, and Garrett's shooting for what, like five, six, seven clutches. Maud's got one. Joe's gone one or two. Josh Hansen might do them, and whoever else. There might be like two, or well, we saw Metcalf just did one. So we're looking at like all these people producing Carampas, right? The problem is Carampas were completely marketed through ROR as this super scarce locality, which is ridiculous because there's way less Medus than there are Carampas. So, and they're still at 10K a piece or 10K a pair. So I just like Garrett's bullshit, getting called out on his bullshit on sizing and all of that. I don't worry about that actually hurting the market. What I worry about hurting the market is the artificial inflation that was created by Garrett's scarcity marketing. That's what I'm more worried about than people figuring out that their snakes aren't going to stay the size of that their retics aren't going to stay the size of corn snakes. I don't give a fuck about that because there's honestly, yeah, she already hatched hers out, Darren. There's honestly, you either like retics or you don't. And if you like retics enough to get one because it's going to get 8 feet, chances are once you have them, you're going to like them enough to keep it if they get 10, 11, 12. So I'm not really worried about that. I am worried about the fact that they're being sold under this guise of small bloodlines and stuff with no data to back it up. Um, so I don't think the value of price, that's that's the crushing blow to that isn't going to be the fact that Garrett's 62.5 jam, 37.5% mainlands are going to, aren't going to stay 7 to 9 feet. The problem is that he's hyped everything up in such a fashion that the prices aren't sustainable at those higher price points. And that's what's going to hurt the prices more than anything. The shitty bullshit marketing of, oh, we have the smallest bloodlines, and somehow in 10 years after it only F2 generations we've managed to breed out all the large genetics and just magically keep the small genetics. The more people think about that, the more they're going to realize it's bullshit. And you either like retics or you don't. You're either willing to deal with a decent sized snake or you're not. So I don't really worry about it from that front. I worry about it from the front of, here's one of the things a lot of people were telling me years ago was, hey, we got into this, and Garrett said, that like, oh, these things were so rare and blah, blah, blah. And the more we got into retics, the more we found out everybody has this, all the other breeders already have this stuff too. And it's like, well, yeah, Garrett had nothing to do with the foundation of dwarfs and super dwarfs, localities, or retics in general. He had absolutely nothing to do with any of it. This didn't start with him. His marketing, he was able to market so efficiently that he became topical authority on the internet on regarding the subject and market of reticulated pythons. So, that, and when he became topical authority, that allowed him to kind of have his word being gospel. But now all these snakes are getting bigger and people are posting their 14-foot 50 percenters and blah blah blah. That's all starting to go away, because retics are retics, whether they're 6 foot or they're 20 foot. So you either like them or you don't. But if he crashes out, is all lost with them? No, because we were all doing this before Garrett figured out a way to scam money out of people. That, we were all doing this long before Garrett brought in this fucked up scarcity marketing. We were all doing it, before him. He got prices up. Everyone loved him for a minute there because everybody was spending these high dollars on animals. But the honeymoon of delusion is over. The prices are coming back down. And at this point, no one even feels the need to try to protect Garrett anymore. That's why they just flat out call him out publicly now. It's like, well, he's not selling my snakes. His marketing isn't working anymore. And nobody believes that these animals are going to actually stay this small. So, it's whatever. Okay, if I bred my animals that I own from them, am I going to look like an asshole now? No, as long as you don't make shit up about it. I know some will think I'm an asshole right now for owning them, but I still believe they have nice small bloodline animals. And if you want to believe they have nice small bloodline animals, you can. I just don't know, and I don't see any evidence to suggest that their bloodlines are any smaller than anybody else's. And here's how you can know that there has not been any small gene selective breeding at Reach Out. There was he rounded up whatever wild caught Carampus he could find, okay, which wasn't many. I think I only had 5 or 6 that came through me total. And there wasn't that many out there. So it's not like he had an option to pick from small bloodlines. There was just a handful of wild caught Carampas in the country. He got them and bred them. Okay? So there was never any selective breeding. He didn't, somebody hadn't been breeding Carampas and had noticed some had stayed smaller, then bred those together. Then Garrett comes in and gets these like F3, F4, F whatever generations that have stayed a little smaller than other ones. Like, none of that happened. Okay? None of that happened. So, and what we'll do, so as long as you feed your snakes properly and you just let them get as big as they should get, and then you disclose that information, nobody's going to think you're an asshole. Because as long as they look nice and they're not overpriced, nobody's going to give a shit that they're coming from Reach Out. Just don't push the cons. Just don't try to say they're small bloodlines, because there's no Garrett hasn't been doing this long enough to even hope to create smaller bloodlines. It just hasn't happened. And I'm not believing I'll get a corn snake size, but just nice smaller size animals. And it really depends what it is. I mean, if your animals are 75% super dwarf, blah blah blah, they are going to stay smaller. But if your animal's a 62.5 jam, 37.5% mainland, there's no reason to think that snake will stay small unless you don't feed it. That's the only way it will stay small. So I don't think people will shun ROR animals. I think Garrett is scheming. I think it's Garrett scheming that will be blown out of the water. Oh yeah, it's 100% going to be that. Gonna text you my Garrett argument. Talk about it at your convenience. Why don't? God damn it. Here's my Garrett argument. Do you want me to read this? Jesus Christ, you sent me a goddamn novel, Duran. We need bullet points, dude. Bullet points. Here's my Garrett argument. Everyone says Garrett is bad for retics. What if Garrett is necessary evil, so to speak? Well, I don't know if he's, and I don't want to say I made an argument for him being a necessary evil the other day. I did make an argument saying if everybody wants to attack him, then they better step the fuck up to the plate and become topical authority on the internet and start putting out content and start, getting retic, the information about retics out there. Because that's one thing Garrett does do, is he brings in new people. The problem is he brings in new people with some nonsense about 7 to 9 foot basically mainland genetics. I wonder what the actual numbers are of people who bought a snake, grew with a snake, and then learned to be able to handle the size and are now productive members in the hobby, versus people who bought a snake and got it, and it got too big for them to handle, and they got rid of it and are out. And both never would have bought a snake without Garrett underestimating size to get them in the door. Okay, let's take let's break that down. Most people that get into retics, at least on the breeding front, don't make it because they just morph chase, and they just don't make it. Most of them last 3 to 5 years. I can tell you that 100%. But and a lot of people end up getting rid of their stuff. Now, you're kind of lumping into the pet people into this too, which Garrett's, at least his old prices, didn't have a lot of pet friendly prices. So nowadays he has a lot more pet friendly prices. So I guess it's a moral argument without Garrett underestimating size to get them through the door. And that was kind of the argument I made a few days ago, was like, hey, it's his bullshit marketing that we all profit from. So there is a self-sustaining bias and greed that would suggest we should all just let Garrett keep pushing these ideas and not give him any any flack publicly, so he can keep getting people in the door. And I always say I don't care, because I end up with his customers anyways. So I mean, it starts out like, here's how people that get into retics through Garrett, this is how it starts out. They love Garrett, they hate me. A couple years later, they start buying snakes from me. That's how it works. So I can't really, I mean, it's just how it works. So it's whatever. Oh yeah, well, I know enough to know that I've been a defender or battery, not deserving all the hate, but I think everyone definitely sees that saying those would stay small was fucking stupid. Yeah, and I mean, and some of his stuff will stay small. It's just not not everything can be the size of a pure super dwarf. I got into retics from ROR marketing. Yeah, a lot of people did. Uh, and you said you got into retics from ROR marketing. What's your honest uh, opinion on it now? Like, what's your opinion on sizing, on localities, on like yeah, let us like what do you how do you look at it now? Like, how do you look at it, like what got you into it versus what you see now? Then let me get back to Duran shit. Ask any breeder how many new people they brought into the hobby, how many sales they have made from people that went to Garrett first. Ask the people who claim they were lied to by Garrett if they are out of retics now because their snakes got bigger than expected. Yeah, I mean it's going to be kind of hard to track down all the people that aren't in retics now because I don't know who they are. Um, and like I said earlier, I don't think an extra foot or two is going to cause somebody to get out of retics. And this is to Duran's point. The reason I've went so hard on medium-sized retics is because I fucking know as long as I can produce a retic that's manageable, I can sell it. And as long as I can produce retics that look better than everybody else's, I can sell it. So if I produce better looking retics at a manageable size, I can really sell it. So that's why I do what I do. Plus, I like messing with colors and patterns. So that's the other thing too. Um, yeah, and I mean, I don't know how many. I don't. Here's my pushback. Uh, here's my pushback on what Duran's saying. I've warned about this a long time ago. Garrett was supposed to be the golden boy of retics, the pinnacle of honesty and perfection and all things that's good. And if you go back years and years ago and watch one of my videos, and I say I'm supposed to be everything that's wrong with retics. So when it comes out, which it has, that Garrett is a used car salesman, how bad do I look now? And that was one of my big arguments. If Garrett represents the best of us, and I represent the worst of us, how bad does that mean I am? And I'm not saying I'm bad or good. I'm just saying that, like, at face value, if the person who was supposed to be the good guy is awful, how bad is the bad guy? I must be really bad. So that's the other way to look at this, Duran, is how bad does Garrett make us all look when he was supposed to be the prime example of the retic industry? I wish I knew then what I do now and have bought from someone else, but glad I got into retics. Yeah. So there's a case in point for Duran's argument right there, which I actually made a similar argument. My next retic would for sure come from Hell Creek because he supports LGBT. Yeah, you gotta definitely support. You gotta support the open mindedness. My opinion today is that Garrett lies to sell snakes. Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. What do you think of Duran's argument that those lies brought you in, and now we all get, if you continue to buy snakes, then we get the profit from those lies. I mean, I like making money, but I don't know. I just think there's a better way to sell retics to people than telling them they're all only going to get the size of a pure super dwarf. I also got into retics by ROR marketing. I visited them, and it was my first real exposure to retics. Yeah. I'm not saying that, like, I think Garrett's bloodline shit is really about setting himself apart from everyone else. Because, and here's why I'll say that, because once you guys all figured out that he's not the only game in town, like, all these other breeders have his stuff. So how does he separate himself? Well, because if everybody has all those localities, well, he has to distinguish his localities somehow. And he hasn't selectively bred them to look different because he's a retard. So he has got to make something to distinguish his stuff from everybody else's. So what's he say? So, oh, well, they're small bloodlines. So if Garrett was smart, he would just start selectively breeding to create his own looks. He would do more. He would breed retics similar to me if he was smart, but he's not smart. He's good at marketing, but he's not good at producing. He's not good at color and pattern manipulation, and which is what you need to be good at if you're going to breed retics. Um, and not everyone he sells to is like me, who wanted a small snake, but now is actually happy. It'll be bigger because I can accommodate for it. And the more I learn, the more I'm happy with the large snake. Yeah, yeah, dude. There's a lot of people. I'm gonna say like the people that he gets in from like Snake Discovery and that type in Clint's Reptiles, those aren't people that are going to be okay if their 7 to 9 snake gets 14 feet. I got in because the thought of retics that stay under 15 feet blew my mind. Retics are smart, attractive, beautiful snakes. 3% of people really have the capability to keep large mainlands. Yeah, which is why I hardly ever produce mainlands anymore unless I need to for a project. I think ROR have brought more people into retics without doubt. That's a fact. Yeah, more than pretty much anybody, at least in the dwarf and super dwarf space. But another fact is uh, he false marketed. Yeah. I mean, Jay Brewer brought a lot of people's attentions, but I think we can all agree he's the biggest fucking tool on the planet. Yeah, yeah, that's who Garrett learned from. Yeah. Be thankful you didn't follow my path when I first got into retic. Started with Samson, then went to Garrett before here now. Yeah, that's a brutal. That's how Lucas started. Lucas started with Samson, then Garrett, then me, and then he just publicly said he regrets 2 of his mentors. I'd love to know which 2 it is. No common sense. We need someone else to take over the marketing, but I can't expect other people to sell out for YouTube clicks and be phony. What adds value to your content is honesty, but it doesn't hit mainstream. No, I'm not a good face for any kind of mainstream. That's not really what I am. See, like new people don't really. It usually takes a while for new people to find out, like find people like me, to some extent even Eric Lee and Andrew. It usually takes a little bit. Thanks for keeping it real, Rodney. Oh, that's what I do. So, but I do think these types of live streams where I give everybody an opportunity to come on and say what they want. Next Gen, we give everybody an opportunity to come on and say what they want. I think that's important. I think that helps. Because I'm not really trying to bring new people into the hobby, but but I am trying to keep the ones that we have. That's the one thing I do put effort into is I try to put out as much information as possible so we keep the ones that we have. Because people are always coming and going, you know. And some of Garrett's marketing also created a bubble too, which I like sustainability. I don't like seeing prices go up here, then coming down here, then going up here, then coming down here. I would just rather just slow and steady, slow and steady. That's why I never jacked Ternates, Halmas, or Mindanaos up super high. I just kept them all the same price. Unless, well, with the Ternates, unless there's like super crazy looking new bloodline, that took me 6 to 8 years or whatever to make, then, those are going to be a little more because they look nuts. So, but I don't know. I think there's one little. Did I read the last little piece of neurons? LOR, what if Garrett turned into Jack Nicholson and was like, you can't handle the truth in that video? Well, I could have, I don't know, I might have had a little more fucking respect for him. But no, there's going to be a push. There's going to be a push to Garrett, try to get back into the good graces of the retic gods. That's for sure. Well, we should see some really cheap Halmas next year. Not really. No, no, because they're not. I mean, I don't. Who's going to produce them? You know, if somebody breeds an 8 foot female Halma, they're not going to make enough to, even if you can. Let's say Brian Whitehead hits on 12. I mean, and he say what's he going to sell them for? If he knows he can get 2,500 for them, I mean, is he going to really try to undercut the market when the market is demanding them? You know what I mean? So like this is why I'm not really worried about Brian Whitehead. I still think it's shitty that Lucas sold him to him because he's such a fucking fake human being. But if like Brian, let's say Brian Whitehead gets a clutch of 12, and he knows, because I won't be producing any next year. I won't be producing them because she bred this year, so he won't have me to compete with unless somebody else breeds them. He's not going to have anybody else to compete with. So why would he drop them? If he's the only game in town, there's a better chance of Brian Whitehead raising his prices than lowering them on Halmas, to be honest, because if he's the only one with them, why the hell would he sell them? Why he doesn't need to mark them down if he has no competition. Brian's going to make as much money as he can as quickly as he can. And if he has zero competition, there's zero reason to drop him down. And if he does drop him down, say like if he drops them down like crazy low, like $500, they will sell that day, and then he'll be out and they'll be gone. So I mean, I'm not worried about that at all. Brad always told me it's like 10-year circle. Prices always go up and down. The COVID kids spent all their money thinking they were gonna be snake breeders and make money, then realize all the hard work. Yeah. Yeah, it does. It does go up and down. Very few people have serious interest in reptiles. Why people don't make When people don't make money, they get out. If you're not talking about the market, uh, they have nothing to say. Yeah. Yeah, ROR was my first exposure. After a call with Rodney, I learned the real deal with retics, and he was very neutral on his ROR talk. I took notes during my call. That's funny. I don't even remember that call. I don't even remember that call. When the hell was that phone call? Rodney's information had me completely intrigued to the point that I read and reread everything I could find. 4 months later, I messaged Rodney and bought. Oh, okay. All right, I remember. How are those two marble ternates doing? They looking good? I remember the one had really nice color. They should be coming up on, at least the male should be basically breedable. Yeah. Yeah, it had been a little while ago. And here's the other thing that Reach Out's doing. There's a whole other like segment of localities that they don't even tell people about. So when people like start doing research, they find out there's like all these other localities, dwarfs, mainlands, all this other neat stuff going on, and there's all these other people doing all these different type of selective breedings and stuff. So they try to keep everybody in their bubble. Then after you look at the same thing enough times, it's not as interesting, and you start looking for other stuff. And when you start seeing there's all this other interesting stuff out there, I think that's the other major mistake their Reach Out's making, is it's not they're not really diversifying. If you think about it, if you look what they're producing, it's like we're just going to make a bunch of Karampas, or we're just going to make a bunch of Snows, or we're just going to do a bunch of this. And I don't know. I don't know. It took me a year and a half to discover you, and since then it's been the best learning, and everything makes a whole lot more sense. Yeah. Oh, great. So beautiful. Yeah. Yeah, I remember. I like those two snakes. I remember them. So, but yeah, I've been on here 65 minutes. If you guys got any more topics you want to hit, we can hit them real quick. If not, I'm going to jump off, and I already ate, so I don't have to eat. So that's good. I get to take a shower and go to bed early. So I'm excited for that. No. But if you guys are good, I'm good, and I'll try to actually have a retic on my retic podcast tomorrow, since I've been failing miserably at doing that. So, all right, okay, okay. Reminder saying, yeah, I'll send you those. I'll send them within the hour. All right, thanks everybody. Take it easy.